Hello and welcome.
Good evening, good afternoon.
My name is Alex and it's time to take a look at the Gameweek 28, a pathetic outcome of definitely deserved for going to differential and with as players that I shouldn't be getting. The Cunha transfer just stinks there. I decided to go early, ahead of the curve. Again punished, but not a big deal because we will be building a wildcard, which I most likely activating tonight. I already absorb the price drops on some of my players, in particular Palmer. I cannot sell him for odds 0.1, and I think I'm losing value on Cunha too. Very unfortunate, and I didn't really see the drop on Cunha too. But it's all good. I still have enough money in my bank. I think I have like 105 million. So we're gonna be building an insane wildcard ahead of the curve, trying to now gain rank, because 250,000 rank, it's very underwhelming, and I expected a little bit more. Obviously, I still have assistant manager chip in play, and having wildcards played right now, I think it's a very good decision. I have to transfer saved. If I were to make some moves, obviously I have some players blanking, and I don't want to get rid of Salah, for instance, because he just was eliminated from the Champions League. Most likely, he wants to smash the records now. This is gonna be his season. So if I wasn't playing the wildcard, most likely my moves would have been Trent. It would be for -4. I only have 2 transfers. Trent to Guardiola or another defender who plays like Ait Nouri, for instance. Could be Guardiola, it could be Ait Nouri. So, for instance, let's start with Ait Nouri. And then it would be Cunha for Haaland. I cannot afford without selling Palmer or any other midfielder, but Palmer makes the most sense for me, just because Palmer decided to prioritize playing Haaland. Prioritize playing EAFC till 1 AM on the match day, like before the match day. And it looks like he's not really up for it. He feels bad. I feel like it all stems from like staying late and playing with Twitch or FIFA streamers, playing video games, apart from like dedicating his time on like recovering. I don't know. I'm not judging. I don't really care. Chelsea isn't my team. Why would I care? So it's good for him that he enjoys his life. But I really want to get rid of him. So Elanga would be probably one of those interesting, juicy differentials. So this is just in case if you have a few transfers left. I think you can go and just follow suit and just try to get a Nottingham Forest player. Could be Elanga, could be Gibbs White, could be Hudson-Odoi. It's just Elanga has slightly better expected goals, expected assists per minute, right? Per 90 minutes. So I think it just, based on the previous results, of course, it looks like Hudson-Odoi is on fire. He scored against Man City. He may feel like he is up for it and maybe score a few goals against Ipswich too. I just think that Elanga is just as good as Hudson-Odoi. Morgan Gibbs White costs a little bit more, and if I'm remembering correctly, he's on some of the set pieces, but not all of them. And you can equally go for Aina instead of Ait Nouri. I think you can afford him. With my budget, I have 0.5 left. I can afford another defender here. I cannot afford getting Gabriel, though. I cannot afford getting Gabriel. Sorry, not Gabriel, Guardiola, because I already have Gabriel. So this would be -4. But then I look at this team, and I realize that in Gameweek 30, in Gameweek 31, in Gameweek 32, regardless of the doubles that we'll be getting, and Ben Krellin has posted a slightly updated schedule, and there are a lot of tweets on his Twitter account, you need to check them out, where he is predicting what's going to be happening, and depending on the results, outcomes, they could be blanks over here, and they could easily, some of these fixtures could be easily rolled into, like, become doubles for these respective teams in Gameweek 33. And that's why when you're building your wildcard, and some people are waiting until Gameweek 31, which probably is the wisest decision, but they are building a wildcard with this information in mind, and they're expecting probably some of these like fixtures to be announced before Gameweek 32, and they can build their wildcard in 31. But I'm looking at my team, right? I'm looking at my team and I'm thinking, if I'm just making these transfers for -4, and I'm inevitably playing a wildcard, I'm like halfway through to get my wildcard realistically, because I would probably have Haaland because he's doubling at least once. I would probably have Elanga because like Nottingham Forest are in great shape, and they, I don't know. I feel like getting triple Forest is a good idea. I'm not sure if they're doubling though. It doesn't look like it. Yeah, it doesn't look like Nottingham Forest are gonna be getting a double. So that's the only downside from getting triple Forest players, but they just like, they're so solid. And then speaking about another player that I'm getting is Ait Nouri, who is getting very nice fixtures too. So, and he's cheap. So look, this team doesn't look like it's bad. and it looks like I already have some doublers in Isak who is playing later. I just think that if I'm making these moves, and one of these moves is just getting rid of Palmer and getting Haaland in, or maybe I'll decide to get Beto in. Like, one more time, I probably will activate my wildcard today, right? There is 95% likelihood that I'm activating it by the end of the week, of course, unless today something happens that maybe changes the outcome of like potential doubles. And then I may just do a wildcard draft as well, so that I can use some of my transfers right now later down the line. If I choose to play double game weekers, build like an insane bench boost team by saving transfers, already have 2 transfers saved, and I can, instead of using them now to get Haaland and get another like player that plays in the blank game week, which, I mean, for me, free hit is not an option. I don't really think I need to play that. So I just thought that if I have 2 transfers now, and I'm creating a wildcard that works well for this blank game week 30, blank game week 29, game week 30, so I can easily save 4 transfers and maybe 5 by game week 32. And then I can easily just do a mini wildcard on top of my wildcard, whilst not using these transfers, right, to get Haaland and to get Elanga and to get like favorable fixtures and maybe even build even more powerful team for Gameweek 29. So this is the logic, and it's just like I think I can get a little bit ahead of the curve because everyone is going to be getting the best players for Gameweek 31, and most likely they are going to be missing out on these players in this Gameweek in 29. So first and foremost, we're getting rid of Raya and getting rid of Gabriel, right? So let's start with Raya, and Raya can get rid. We can get rid of him for Henderson, who is not playing. He's gonna be just my bench goalkeeper. I'm gonna be again juggling between 2 goalkeepers. I will still look into like fixtures because some of these goalkeepers, like for instance Verbruggen, he's getting insane fixtures later down the line. Like he gets 32, it's Leicester, 34 West Ham, and if I can maybe play Henderson, he gets very difficult fixtures here, but he gets a double, right? So a double is nice because he's gonna be bench boostable, and or I can play him just for the sake of him playing 2 games, even though those can be difficult games. Like for instance, it's a guaranteed double for Crystal Palace, Man City, and Newcastle. Most likely they are not keeping clean sheet in any of these, but it's just 2 fixtures. You never know. He can save some shots, and that's like 5-6 points for 1 game week for Henderson. And I can easily bench boost him in game week 31, 32, 33, whatever I decide. So obviously not 31. But you know what I'm talking about. So these are 2 goalkeepers. I may just change my opinion on goalkeepers, but the idea is the same. Trent, injured. Doesn't look like Liverpool are keeping out of clean sheets. Doesn't look like Trent himself is contributing to attacks. So getting rid of Trent for someone like Munoz, who is definitely a player that I want to have for doubles, and he can even double twice in a row. So Munoz will be there. He is maybe not keeping a clean sheet, but he's assisting or scoring goals. Very nice. Gabriel. Getting rid of Gabriel, and we are getting ourselves Aina. Right? So this is a fullback for Nottingham Forest. They play 4 at the back, but sometimes he's just like attacking as if they're playing 5 at the back and he's a wingback, and he's providing a lot of assists. Sometimes even, I think he scored even a goal or 2 from corners or something. So that's where Aina, he's also a bonus magnet. So Aina is going to be my another defender for this selection. We can get rid of Greaves as well and get a Guardiola, right? So Guardiola, why is it important to get someone from Man City? Just because you are getting yourself players with fixtures in 29. They play Leicester at home then, and then there is a double most likely happening next. So there's a lot of fixtures for Man City. Do I trust in Man City? Do I trust them to finish the season strong? Not at all. I actually think that you can bet against Man City, not get Haaland and Guardiola. For me, I need to gamble on something. And right now, I think that maybe Pep will find the words of encouragement and tell Haaland that he needs to use his feet to score goals, and his midfielders that they need to pass the ball to Haaland's feet to score goals. So I'm playing Haaland, and the way I can afford him right now, -4, I cannot afford him, but I'm affording him by selling Palmer, and Palmer becomes Elanga. I think Elanga will have something to prove, and that's shout out to the FPL Raptors podcast. He has been speaking to a guest, and they just briefly brushed on the fact that Elanga is a former United player, and he would want to prove a point. You know what I'm talking about? So Ipswich away, United at home, he can go rampant against Man United. I like it. And this is just a placeholder. I would have wanted to get a lot of Palace players, a lot of Newcastle players, maybe some other doublers. I don't know who is there to double. I don't trust in Arsenal, so I don't want to double in Arsenal. And it's Newcastle and Man City, 2 difficult fixtures for them. Obviously, there's Southampton away. Yeah, I can get Trossard. I can, but I just don't really trust in Arsenal at all. And then we can get Fulham players, we can get Brighton players, which I will get one at least. West Ham United could be a good shout to get maybe a cheeky Bowen. So I will be playing around with drafts with Bowen. And then we have Bournemouth players who are doubling twice. And that's why the other doubler for us is Mbumo is leaving for Semenyo. So we have tripled up before we were doubled up on Bournemouth, or tripling up on Bournemouth. And Vaneri is leaving too. And this is a vacant spot for a Brighton player. Although, if we are looking at this, and you see there is a double in 33, most likely it's Brentford and West Ham, which is not a bad double. There is Leicester for Brighton too. So Brighton are, after that Man City game, which I don't want to like have a lot of players from Brighton, but that's why I have Verboegen. But at the same time, I want to get Mitoma, right? I can afford Mitoma. If you can't afford Mitoma, I think Mintze will do. So this is very close to a final draft, but we need to get rid of another defender. And that's where I think I am getting, instead of Robinson, although Robinson is perfectly fine choice, he's playing Tottenham, by the way, so I might as well keep him. But I think instead of him, I'm getting Ait Nouri, right? So this is tricky because I don't believe that Wolves are keeping out of clean sheets, are going to be keeping out of clean sheets. But Southampton at home, away, sorry, nice. West Ham at home, all right. Ipswich away, it's fine. And even Spurs at home, and then there's a Leicester at home. So at least give me 2 clean sheets in these, and maybe some random assist or goal. And besides, he is not expensive, so I can easily keep him in my team. So this is a team ready to rock for the Gameweek 29. I don't really think that I'm going to be getting both Verboegen and Henderson. I think I'm going to be, maybe even Cheeky Sa can become my goalkeeper here. Right? Sa will become a goalkeeper. And Henderson just has very difficult fixtures despite doubling. A shout for some of the following players, right? So I wouldn't mind getting an Arsenal attacker, although I'm very skeptical. And I wouldn't mind getting Bowen, right? So we have one Brighton player, we have no Aston Villa players, that's the problem, and we have not a lot of Newcastle players. So this can be fixed based on, that's why I'm not rushing to, I don't know, get Dan Burn right now, but I can. For me, I think this is a very strong team, 4-4-2, for Gameweek 29. That's the idea. So we achieved that. That's a lot of transfers, by the way. Justifying the wildcard, 10 transfers. So this would be the wildcard draft for me, and I have 2 transfers saved. This is the best part about this. So 2 transfers saved, meaning that by Gameweek 32, I have 5. 5 transfers is enough to get rid of the players that you think, they probably are not getting clean sheets, and get doublers. Besides, I already covered the important players, I think. So for me, getting Mateta right now is not a priority. I think Haaland and Wood are perfectly fine, even though maybe Mateta will play twice. I don't know about, look, Crystal Palace played against Ipswich at home. They barely scored a goal, although they created a lot of XG. So I don't know if I can trust them necessarily. And if they were to double, it could be Arsenal away, and Bournemouth at home. It's not the easiest run of fixtures, and obviously at home as well over here, Man City, Newcastle. So not getting Mateta is not criminal, but it's nice to have him, of course. Then for Newcastle, I can easily then maybe make a transfer to get in someone like Gordon, or maybe a defender from Newcastle. I can even equally just have a Newcastle defender. I just can't have him. I really want Munoz. I think Munoz is essential in a way. And then Man City, we already have double Man City because they're going to be doubling, most likely. Then for Aston Villa, we have... Aston Villa is the only team that I'm not covering. So that's where I can use one of my transfers. I'm not booking transfers ahead because I think it's a bad idea. But with Aston Villa, I think getting someone like Rodgers again, or maybe even Asensio, exciting players, I can get rid of one of the Bournemouth boys maybe, or maybe even Mitoma if Brighton are not cooking at all. But Brighton can easily double here, so that would be Brentford, West Ham. I don't want to get rid of Mitoma. In fact, I can easily get rid of Kluivert for someone like another Brighton midfielder, so could be Minte. And this team, by the way, I have 1 million in the bank. So if I choose to play Eddie Howe, I can do that as well. I think Eddie Howe costs like 1 million. But if I don't have enough money, I can sell a goalkeeper, get like a cheaper goalkeeper here, so it doesn't matter. Or maybe get someone like Minty instead of Mitoma. So you see, you can easily build a draft like that. And that's what I'm saying. So I'm carrying over so many transfers by Gameweek 32, so that when everyone is wildcarding, I already will have half of the players that people will have in their wildcard. And then if I need to make a surgery, if I feel I have the fear of effective ownership, I can easily do that with my 5 transfers. So I will be then, at the end of the season, obviously I would have want to save transfers, but it's not like people who are preparing for Gameweek 29 are saving so many transfers after that. They will be probably taken out of hits, in fact. So I don't take any hits, I save my transfers, I use wildcard, and I'm always prepared for everything that is going to be happening for these announced doublers in Gameweek 31. So then we have Southampton. I'm not getting anyone from there. So another player that I can get, like I said, is Bowen. And then for Arsenal, I just don't believe in their project and currently. And then for Manchester United, this is tricky actually. Manchester United, Bruno could be not a bad shout, you know. So Bruno could be a differential because they play Leicester in 29 and they most likely will double. And depends on obviously their result, where they're exactly doubling. And then of course, one of these game weeks, 33 or 34, I'm going to be using because some of these teams will blank, I will probably be using my free hit. And then I still have my assistant manager chip where I'm going to be catching up. So the idea, operation, top 100,000k rank is on the table. Maybe we can do better than that with this wildcard. Hope you enjoyed this video. Let me know what you think about this bold strategy. Obviously not optimal, and many people are refraining. Like I've seen people who have terrible teams and they're taking -8, -12 hits to get in players that will most likely be and end up in their wildcard. So it's like you're taking hits in order to only barely improve your team with a wildcard. And here I'm introducing 10 new players. And if I were to introduce 5 more, I can easily do that with these safe transfers. So this is my thinking. I hope you enjoyed this video. Let's jinx everyone except for our players, and I'll see you next time.